Welcome to Make It Yourself Living. In this video, I'm going to show you my sausage soup. Actually, this isn't my sausage soup. My mother-in-law actually created it. And no, she doesn't ride a broom. She's a very nice lady. It does start off with a pound of Italian sausage. Now you can make this hot, you can make it mild, whatever you decide. Now, as you look at this, you're going to see that I have a little more than a pound in here. I had some left over in my fridge that it's one of those things to either use it or lose it. So I decided to plop it in there and use it. Now, I normally don't put much oil in the pan when I'm cooking sausage because, as you know, it tends to be a wee bit fatty. So that's what's happening here. As you can see, the sausage is beginning to cook, and it was partially frozen. You know how it is. I find when I throw it in the microwave trying to defrost it in that manner, I almost inevitably cook it. So I decided I'll just toss it in the pan and cook it in the pan. Okay, I'm going to be mixing this up and pretty quickly throwing some beans in there. Now the recipe does say use 2 cans of beans, and the choices of beans are entirely up to you. I've used black beans, kidney beans, beans, cannelli beans, which are white kidney beans. And in this particular one, I believe I'm using kidney beans, and believe it or not, black-eyed peas, because they were on my shelf, and I thought I need to use these up. So you're going to get 2 cans of beans, your favorites. Rinse them though. Don't dump them in with all the liquid. Just rinse them. You don't want the additional stuff in there. I think I'm going to purchase myself those bear claws I see some ladies using. I think that'd make it a lot easier than trying to break up meat with a spatula. And here you see me throwing in some kidney beans. So it's a can of rinsed kidney beans. I do believe the black-eyed peas come next, and there are the black-eyed peas. Actually found that I like them. I've never had them before, so that was a pleasant surprise. Okay, now you're going to see me pour in a box of beef broth. That is 4 cups. Do you have to use beef broth? No. Some people think that beef broth kind of tastes tinny. If you're one of those individuals, try cutting it in half with chicken broth. So you'd have 2 cups of beef, 2 cups of chicken broth. But this in itself is beef broth. Or if you want, you could put 4 cups of water and use those better than broth, those little bouillon type things. That would work also. I would recommend trying to get the low salt stuff because you got to remember you got sausage in here, and sausage does tend to get salty, and then you're adding salty broth, so you may want to back that off a bit. Now you can see next will come some fire roasted stewed tomatoes. Now I've said it before, I like the Safeway brand. They have this stewed tomato for salsa. Oh, it has such a great tomato taste to it. I did look on the ingredients, and they do put puree in there too, which is probably what's amping up that tomatoey taste. But anyway, you're going to want to put a can of stewed tomatoes in here. And I'm trying to show you what the can looks like if you're looking for it. Now, I am on the West Coast. I'm in Arizona. It's very possible you may not have it on where you're at. If that's the case, just get yourself your favorite stewed tomatoes. I would probably suggest maybe if you can some fire roasted. That always kind of adds to the taste. Now what you're going to see me add in shortly is a pinch of red pepper. You don't have to put red pepper in it, especially if you don't like stuff heated, but we do, so I threw red pepper in there. And after that, what I'm going to essentially do is let all these flavors kind of marry together or meld together. Let this cook, not a rolling boil, but a fast simmer for about 20 minutes, a half hour maybe. There's the pinch of red pepper I was talking about. I'll mix that in and I'll continue to let it go. And a little bit I'll put in a cup of ditalini, they're noodles. Whatever noodles you choose, you want it to be a small noodle. You don't want the noodles to overtake the soup. So if you like ditalini, use ditalini. If you like, see, I only have a cup here. That's ditalini, and that's only going to take about 10 minutes. So it's toward the end when you're getting ready to actually serve, but you don't want to put the noodles in if you're planning on cooling this down and tossing it in the freezer, because noodles in the freezer, sometimes that just doesn't go well. So if you're planning on freezing this, go ahead and don't put the noodles in, but cook it entirely. Let it cool down, put it in your freezer. Then when you use it and you're heating it up on the stove, throw your noodles in then so you have nice fresh noodles. I only put a cup in here because much more than that, it becomes more like a really large goulash. So much noodles, not much anything else. So a cup went well. And like I was mentioning, if you use anything, make sure it's a smaller noodle, not a big one. Yes, I did lose the spatula, and I do believe I'm going off and cleaning it off in the sink. Now it is beginning a pretty healthy boil. You need to keep an eye on the noodles. You don't want them to get too mushy. It just takes away from the soup. So as soon as it becomes done, soup's done. Would you make this into a vegan recipe? I think you could. Instead of actual sausage, I believe that there's Morningstar, I believe the brand is, makes a vegan type sausage that you could use in place. Of course, the beans would be fine. You may not want to use the chicken broth or the beef broth, but there's no reason why you can't throw some vegetable broth in there. And you may have to throw in some additional seasonings to bring up the flavor, but I think it's possible. If you decide to use a hot sausage instead of mild, which I did do on occasion, be aware that the color will be slightly different. The spices tend to make the sausage give off a little bit of a red hue, so don't worry about it. You're okay. It's just the sausage. I'm just trying to show you all the goodies and also grab myself the noodles so I can test it. What I like to do when I have sausage soup is to have some homemade bread with it. It really is yummy. And I did some of my beer flavored potato bread with it. We are beginning to come to the end of the video, so as I always mention, if you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. I can come up with some stuff, and I look forward to talking to you in the future. If the fat that has risen to the top bothers you, you could go through and skim it off. It's quite easy to do. Now, if you like a broth, more broth in your soup, you could always add more beef broth. Well, this is about at the end, and the noodles will be done pretty quickly, so I'd like to thank you for being part of this video today and listening to how I make sausage soup. Well, thank you for being part of this video today. I hope you have a wonderful day.